Hi there, the story ninjas in the house with story time yet again. So, calling all listening ninjas because I do know you really love story time. So, come a bit closer and let's find out where our stories come from and what our story is about. So, thank you, Nali Bali, for your multilingual story library. And we found this one called Lola Fixes the Internet by Kgosi Kgosi. But, as you know, we sometimes pop our friends into our stories. So today our story is going to be Keziah Fixes the Internet because I know Keziah is one of our little listening ninjas who dials in very, very often. And because we don't have any pictures to show you, little G and I have created our very own story card for today. And what do you think it could be about? I see a rocket and a satellite. So maybe some space travel's involved. Let's find out. So I'll be reading from my tab again because we've downloaded the story from Nali Bali's multilingual story resource. So let's get started. Are we all comfortable? Let's get going. Now Keziah is a clever little girl and she lives in the village of Grassy Meadows. This beautiful village was like no other village in the world. Sounds like a special place, doesn't it? The people there were really clever and creative, of course, too. They loved telling stories and they knitted the most amazing blankets. And they were all way ahead of their time. Keziah being the smartest of them all. In her village, the internet was the most important tool, and we all do know how important the internet is to us all today. That's right. It's just how I get to speak with you every day, too. So if you visited the village, you'd find school children using computer tablets to find information they needed to complete their schoolwork. Many people had cars that, hold on and wait here, cars that could fly. Amazing. And they controlled these cars with, probably through their tablets and their cell phones, but using the internet. People use the internet for every single thing. And then one day, poof, suddenly the internet was gone. Everyone thought that maybe it would just be down for a while, like it happens sometimes, and that it would be up again pretty soon. But if only they knew, they were very wrong. The king and queen of the village made an announcement on the community radios and television stations. Now, this must have been extremely important. They said that the internet would be down for a long, long time. Everyone in the village was absolutely shocked. I know I would be too devastated. While Kezia stepped back, she watched in amazement as every child in her school began to panic. Our lives are over, shouted the children. And one of her friends grabbed her and said, Please help us, Kezia. One of Kezia's teachers ran out of the classroom, grabbed her by the arm and said, Do something, do something. Kezia, you are the clever one. And then the teacher ran off crying. Kezia could not understand what the fuss was all about. Everyone is behaving as if the world is coming to an end, she thought. Was it? Let's find out. She decided that the next day she would pay the king and queen a visit up at the royal house, just to find out a bit more about this problem. And when Kezia arrived at the royal house, she was welcomed with a glass of milk and a plate of delicious, hot out of the oven, choc chip biscuits. Anyway, while Kezia waited, she had some of these delicious biscuits, made by none other than her best friend's dad, who was the royal baker. Isn't G lucky to have him as a dad, eh? The king and queen arrived and greeted Kezia. They began to talk about the problem in the village, which we all know is the internet that was down. The queen explained that the ministers had found out that the problem was the satellite, which was far, far away, yes we know, way up in space. So the queen said, It is not just our village, But the whole wide world that does not have internet. Oh, my dear, the world needs to keep connected. The queen then held Keziah's hand and said, "My child, we are looking for someone really, really clever and smart to get into our royal spacecraft, travel into space, and fix the satellite." "Keziah," said the king, "you are the only person for the job. If you do this well, you will be doing the whole wide world the greatest favor ever." Oh, Keziah felt excited and she felt a bit nervous, and all at the same time. She had read that going into space could be quite a dangerous task. But anyway, she agreed to do it. For days, the little girl worked alongside the space crew to prepare for this very special mission. She learned how to fly and control the spacecraft, and she learned how to, wait for this, float in space. Well, soon Keziah was ready to fly off into space in the royal rocket. On the day that Keziah left, everyone was there to watch. People threw flowers at her and they wished her good luck. Others cheered for her. "Keziah, Keziah, Keziah." Oh, and all the words of encouragement that flowed. Keziah felt so loved. Keziah climbed into the spacecraft, turned around and waved goodbye, and all the technicians turned the engines on. Moments later, after 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! The spacecraft left the Earth. After flying for what seemed like forever, the spacecraft landed at the space station. Keziah could see the satellite from the window. She contacted the king and queen using a special type of radio just to let them know that they had arrived safely. Everyone at home celebrated her family and her, and they were all especially happy to know that their little girl was alive and well. But, but, the mission did not go ahead as planned. For days, Keziah struggled to work out what the problem was. She knew that the success of this mission was in her little hands, and she didn't want to let anyone down. Remember, the whole wide world was depending on her. Eventually, the team's food and water started running out. The mission had become extremely difficult. But still, Keziah worked on. She worked night and day until she realized what the problem was. One of the satellite's cables had burnt out and it needed to be replaced. So once they'd solved that problem and the internet was back up, yay! Everyone in her village and all over the world celebrated. You can imagine. They were ecstatic. Life was back. Well, after a hard and successful mission, Keziah returned home. She was a hero or a heroine, and she was celebrated by everyone. Now the king and queen were so proud of her that they awarded her with a Medal of Honor, invited her and her family over for dinner, and there they announced that they would name the new cell phone tower that was going to be erected in the village after her. So I do hope you've enjoyed our story. Just going to get out a little picture one more time. And I'm very grateful that I have internet every day and Wi-Fi and data. I'm sure you do too. But it is the one thing that keeps this little world of ours going, isn't it? It keeps us connected, keeps us up to date. But I'm sure there are plenty other things that we could be doing without the internet as well. So until next time, and next story time, I will see you and goodbye.